All right, now that I've created my portrait in Illustrator, I've done all the tracing, I've done all the color, I've added a background, it's time to move it over to Photoshop. So I'm going to make sure I'm in Illustrator and I'm going to click File, Save, and then I will move back to Photoshop. So in Photoshop, I still have my photograph that I was working with when we started, and now I'm going to do a few things to this to get it black and white. So I want to, if my photograph is set as the background, I'm going to double click it and then just call it layer 0, and that will unlock it. Photoshop automatically locks the background layer. And now I'm going to go up here to the top to Image, Adjustments, Desaturate, and then again to Image, Adjustments, Levels. And I want to set this to my black outputs to be 60 and my white output to be 195. You may fiddle with this a little more later. I think I'm actually going to make this. That's where you should start. You might need to make things a little bit lighter, especially if your figure has dark hair like mine does. Okay, and now I'm going to click on my layer 0 here and set that to multiply. If you have any other edit layers, set those to multiply as well. Now I need to apply the filter to make the Ben-Day dots. So at the top, click Filter, and you're going to make sure you're on your photograph layer, and you're going to convert for smart filters. Smart filters make it so that you can go back and edit them later. Otherwise, you have to remove the filter and reapply it, which is annoying. So once you set it for a smart filter, go to Pixelate, Color Halftone, and you're going to set all your channels to 199. They probably won't look like this. Set them all to 199. And this is going to be the radius of your dots. I'll show you how this works. So what it's done is turned my image into, it's sort of like what it would look like in a newspaper. So with my smart filter, I can double click the color halftone and I can make changes to this. Now I'm not going to touch the 199s, but I might change the radius of my circles. Every photograph is going to be a little bit different depending on the size of it when you started. So if I set my max radius of my circles to 15, I get much bigger circles. Mine works best at 4. Most people, somewhere around 8 to 10 usually works well, but you just kind of play around with it until it looks good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want to apply this dotted image on top of my Illustrator document. So in Photoshop, I'm going to go to File, Place Linked, and I'm going to find my portrait drawing, click Place. When it gives you this, just click OK, and you make sure to press the Enter key so that the free transform box goes away. Now I'm going to slide this underneath my photo layer, just like that. If you have any adjustment layers in place, make sure you hold the Alt key and hover over this line so that it's applied only to this immediate layer below it. Now that I've got this in place, I think the hair might be too dark and I think the eyes might be too dark. I can't really appreciate the color there. So what's cool about using a linked object is if I go back to Illustrator and I click the hair, and I'm going to change the color of the hair to something lighter and probably a little more brown. Let's try that. Now that doesn't really look like my real hair color, but the dots are going to affect it later. So, and now I'm going to click my eyes, and I'm going to change the color on my eyes. Wrong layer. select the eyes, hold Shift to select multiple things, and I'm just going to brighten them. Click OK. Alright, now I'm going to do File. Right now the changes have not been reflected in Photoshop yet. Go back to Illustrator, File, Save. When I save them, my hair has gotten a little bit brighter and my eyes have gotten a little bit brighter. And now you can make any other adjustments that you want to make with your image. You can play around with the levels. You can play around with the size of the dots. If you want to do a little erasing, you can do that as well. Just remember that once you've got the dots applied the way you want them to, you can disable the smart layer by by rasterizing it. So you go to Layer, Smart Objects, and then Rasterize. Okay, and now I can do some erasing if I want to. It won't let you erase while the smart layer is in place. So if you want to go around, and some people like the look when you erase the background. That's up to you if you want to. If you like the background, you can keep it. Otherwise, you can erase it. Your choice. And there you go. There's my final finished piece. I'm going to do File, Save As, and I'm going to save it in the Turn In folder under Portrait Final. And it's going to be last name, first name, comic, final. And then I would click Save. There you go, all finished. So I hope that all worked out for you. Let me know if you have any questions, and looking forward to seeing your work.